Boy trashes prom dress. Then, Grandma gets involved. She knew she could never afford a store like this. Sometimes she felt ashamed even going in there, knowing her family didn't have that kind of money. But the fantasy of walking up to the register and paying for such a beautiful prom dress just gave her butterflies in her stomach. In the end, she settled for something more affordable from the mall and started saving. But when her date found out about the cheap dress she was planning to wear, he refused to take her in it. When Parker Smith asked Adriana Rust to Pendleton High School's senior prom, she felt like a character in a movie. After she said yes, her mind was racing with all the things she had to do to get ready. And of course, one burning question had her giddy with excitement. What was she going to wear? But she had no idea the level of drama a simple prom dress would create. Adriana knew this would be the most important night of her young life, and she was going to revel in every minute of the buildup. She and her friends went to an expensive dress store to try on some gowns. They didn't even care about the snooty looks from the sales assistants, who knew they couldn't afford it. Adriana was just happy to have been invited to prom. She didn't think it was that important to have a designer dress. But as she would soon learn, it was very important to someone. Adriana knew Parker had high standards. In fact, she was blown away that he'd asked her to the prom in the first place. But with the big day just weeks away, she knew she had to make a decision on the dress and chose a perfectly nice one that she would be able to save up for. But when she told Parker about it, he demanded to see the dress first. Usually, it's tradition for boys to stand at the bottom of the stairs and wait for their date to come down to catch their first glimpse of the dress. But considering himself a fashion guru, Parker insisted on knowing exactly how the girl he'd be taking to prom was going to look, and he wasn't happy she'd chosen such a cheap dress. Adriana had been so excited for the senior prom, but now she didn't even want to leave her room. She texted Parker saying he might as well go with someone else because her family just didn't have the money for a nicer dress. Word got out that Adriana wasn't going to prom anymore. Even Parker's grandmother had heard what happened, so she called her grandson to give him a piece of her mind. Parker's reaction to the dress had gone viral, and when his grandma had heard that Adriana wasn't going to the prom, she simply wasn't standing for it. She'd raised her children to do the right thing and treat women with respect, so she wasn't about to let Parker's idea of what his date should wear stand in the way of a young girl's happiness. And the way she came to the rescue was something that Adriana would never forget. On the day of the prom, Adriana was sitting in her bed with her knees pulled up to her chest, feeling like there was nothing special about her. She fought back tears as she scrolled through photos she'd taken with her friends at that dress store. It turned out that her prom dreams were just that, dreams. But no, she wasn't going to let one person's opinion of the way she looked stop her from attending such an important event. She would go to the mall, pick up the cheap dress, and just go with her friends. But before she could leave, the front doorbell rang. It was Parker. Adriana called down to her parents, insisting that she didn't want to see him, and slammed her bedroom door. Eventually, her dad came up and asked if he could come in. Allowing him to sit on her bed, her dad explained that she should hear Parker out. Adriana agreed to come down, but before she knew it, she was in floods of tears again. Parker has never wanted Adriana to wear the cheaper dress because he wanted her to have the one she fell in love with at the designer store. But unable to pay for it, Parker had made the beautiful dress himself for a fraction of the cost. The theater student, with a little help from Grandma, spent night after night sewing together a gown that would make his date feel as special as he knew she was. And the way he did it was quite ingenious. Instead of the studded diamonds that the dress in the designer store had, Parker added decorative stones to make the dress sparkle. "I absolutely loved the dress," said Adriana, "and it grew our friendship more than ever. I was so proud of him and so blessed to be able to call him my best friend. He's so talented." But Adriana wasn't the only one with a magical feeling inside. Parker was pleased for the opportunity to work on Adriana's dress and realized what he was capable of, opening the door for a future as a fashion designer. "Not only did I get the honor of being the Prince Charming," Parker said, "but her fairy godmother as well." Anyone else feel like giving Parker a call before their next big event?